you've got a spelling assessment and comprehension. You might have a reading rate on something or a reading accuracy. They are standalone. They're not subtests, they're standalone assessments because you're not using them all together to create a composite. So for those standalone assessments, you can actually put your confidence interval. Okay, so I've done an example of a summary chart at the end with a few examples on. So for word reading, because it's standalone, I can give my confidence interval. Comprehension, it's a standalone assessment, I can give confidence. Again, for a spelling test. But I threw dash in here because dash is actually an assessment where there's several subtests. Free writing is one of the subtests. So I'm not going to give a confidence interval for that. If I went ahead and did all the dash and then got my composite score for speed of handwriting, I could put my composite for speed of handwriting. Again, I've done a more thorough one here. So you can see the confidence interval section is not filled in as much as other areas. That's okay. And also, if you are using the RIT, sometimes there's too great a difference between verbal analogies and vocabulary to get my composite. That's blank. And then again, matrices and diamonds, if it's too great, that would be blank. And therefore, if either of those are missing or both of them, you clearly can't get a general ability, and that would be blank. That's okay, and you can put in little stars and explain underneath that there was too great a difference in scores to get composites. So, again, if we're thinking of calculating confidence intervals, we need to make sure we're 95% confident. And that's where we discussed it before, and I think we were all a little confused. I think I was too. Right, so I'm going to try now and describe the bit we've kind of dreaded, that standard error of measurement and the calculation. Now, your rule of thumb is confidence intervals are related to the standard error of measurement. The standard error of measurement is the predictable amount of error in a test, and it predicts error with 68% certainty. But we don't want 68% certainty, we want 95% certainty. So there's a little equation, a little sum we can do that is SASC approved. And that is, we can times the standard error of measurement by 1.96. Now, if for some reason you want to get a confidence interval for a subtest, which will have been reported with a scaled score, 10 being the mean, then you times by the standard error of measurement by 1.96 and then by 5 as well. And the reason it's by 5 as well is going back to that original chart where we've got the standardised scores going up in increments of 5. So let's have a look at this. We don't really need to work out the confidence intervals for these individual subtests. But here at the bottom, we've got the sum of scale scores and it's given a composite score. Now you might think to yourself, okay, I've got my standard error of measurement written on the front sheet, fantastic, it's 4. Now of course, that's only going to give 68% confidence, so you need to times that by 1.96. So you get your standard error of measurement, and on the front of the C-top, for example, there it is 4. And then you times it by 1.96 and round it up and down. So it would be rounded up to 8 in this example. And then I need to take it away and add it from the composite score. So let's say, for example, the composite score is 94, standard error of measurement is 4. I'm going to say 4 times 1.96 is 7.84. I'm rounding it up to 8. And then I get my composite score 94. So here it is. I take away 8, 86. There's my composite score of 94. I add 8. There it is, 102. So now I'm 95% certain that my pupil's score will fall, true score will fall within that range. So, some assessments can confuse us a little. So for example, the Towery, because they put the standard error of measurement on, which is great, and we know we need to times that by 1.96. Now, the reason I've said this is confusing is because here it says scaled score, but actually it's standardised score. So it's that terminology thing where some people use scaled for standardised. You'll know it's standardised because those scores are going to be quite high, at 70s, well, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s and above. So I know it's going to actually be standardised. If they were like 8 or 11, I know they're scaled. So if for some reason you do want to put a confidence interval on a subtest and a scaled score, we've got the same again, where we find the standard error of measurement and you times it by 1.96, and then you need to times it by 5. But they're just for scale scores, which are largely on subtests. So if I go back to my CTOP, and I've got here elision is 6, the standard error of measurement is 1. Well, actually, that's like saying the standardised score is 80 and the standard error of measurement is 5. That aside, you would have to times the standard error of measurement by 1.96 and then by 5. So we're really hoping that our manuals actually show the confidence interval, but largely they don't. And we hope then that we can find the standard error of measurement easily. Sometimes it's easy to find. If it's not on the front of the examiner form, then you need to look in your contents page of your manual and look at the section to do with reliability. And then within that section on reliability, you'll find your standard error of measurement. Frequently it's on it'll be on a table, and it's frequently related to the age range of the child and the subtest. And you look it up and then you start working out 1.96 and working out whether that needs to be times by 5 or not. Percentiles. So largely you don't really always need to report your percentile, but the percentile rank indicates the individual's position relative to others of the same age in the group tested. So for example, if you've got the 75th percentile, it means that that pupil did as well or better than 75% of the individuals in the standardisation group. Now sometimes our percentiles can be very low. So it's advised, best practice is that if you use percentiles at all, which you don't have to for an APC renewal, but if you choose to use them, just use them when it's showing a strength. So I've written that in green there, and here it does say it's used at the discretion of the assessor. So it can be great if you've got a strength that's in the verbal domain and you want to say they're in the 85th percentile for that, then that's great. And obviously at the back of your assessment you'll explain what percentiles are when you're describing all your technical terms. Now please feel free to email me any questions for further concerns, and also for the full session, if there's anything in particular you want us to cover, please email us. So your next hand-in date's the 9th of May. So by that time, hopefully you will have done all your portfolios for pupil 1 and 2 and all your assessments for pupils 1, 2 and 3. And we'll have got all your assessment videos in and most of your videoing of teaching. After the 9th of May, you've just got the pupil 3 portfolio to do and a little more evidence of teaching to do for that child. And again, any problems with that, just let us know. Thanks then, and all the best. And I'll be in touch with you soon regarding the date you come to visit us at the Unicorn.